Good afternoon and welcome back to my masterclass series, Defining Virtuosity. I'm Odin Rathnam, professor of violin at Cleveland State University. The next Wohlfahrt study, number 45, is marked Moderato and is a study in staccato. There are many good resources for studying how to generate a staccato and how to slowly work it up so that over the course of a year or two, a student can be fluent in at least the classically applied staccato, if not the stiff arm, faster versions, or flying staccatos. But essentially, like the martelé, the staccato is based on a catching of the string and a releasing of the string, where it's essentially plucked by the bow hairs. And for that reason, when practicing number 45, I have a few warm-up methods that I like to have my students use when they're learning this study, and I hope that they'll help you. First of all, I renotate these studies so that the half notes become dotted quarters with eighth note rests and are played separately initially, rather than a continuation of the staccato on an up bow. And I'll explain why. In order to activate the fingers and really feel like they know how to catch the string for the staccati, I like to practice the stroke more related in a way to the repeated up bows of the last movement of Mendelssohn Concerto. So to teach the student in one part of the bow to catch and reset the hand quickly without doing anything in the shoulder at all, keeping the stroke isolated. Lift, down, up, 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 down. Lift, down, up, 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 down. Okay? What I really want to make sure of is that none of the lifts come from the shoulder. We don't ever raise, but are just a raising of the bow with the fingers. Lift. Catch. 2, 3, lift. Catch. 2, 3, lift. Lift. Circle. To feel that pinching of the fingers. When I studied staccato back at Juilliard pre-college division decades ago, my teacher, a Galamian assistant named Sally Thomas, had us focus our attention on the first and third fingers. And even though the thumb is opposite the second, lifting the fourth and second off, just to feel the balance of the bow between those two fingers, and to feel that the third finger could pull up the bow, pinch upwards against the index finger, and to otherwise try to leave the arm glued to the string. And it's easier felt in this part of the bow, and then as we get more fluent, go down further and make sure that you're still hanging. If you turn your shoulder like that, you actually will lose power. Keep everything downward here, so that there's a lot of pinch when you do it at the tip of the bow. A couple of other points about the study that will be of value to you are that as we speed it up, we should try to use as little bow as possible on the staccatos, so that we learn how to activate the impulses in the small muscles without activating too much of the impulses in the larger muscles. When returning to the printed bowing, it's important to feel the quarter note downbeats or eighth note downbeats as a whole arm gesture from the shoulder and to get down quickly. It's also allowable to connect the down into the first up bow at the elbow. Elbow collays. Almost a legato down to up relationship. Or you can stop. This is all contextual in music. We can stop and catch. Or we can connect and feel a connection into the first up bow at the elbow and then activate the fingers depending of the context. I use that so the final result will be a moderate tempo, 2, 3, 4, 1. Later on in bar 16, we have a transition into triplets. I can't emphasize enough how many times we hear people struggle with this rhythmic disparity between a quadruplet and a triplet. The bar before we have ta yaka taka 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 ta 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 ta. Very important to keep that quarter note pulse and not to go too fast in the triplets when they come. The other thing is to make sure that your arm is comfortable for all of the half notes. 6th bar, then that the long notes, we don't lose the stability of the arm during those. I think that's pretty much all I would stress about this is to practice it carefully that way. We can practice it, as I said, after mastering it there, you can try to do it from the middle to the tip. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will allow you to add longer and longer staccati into your upward scales, so that eventually we can manage the ones that are required in some of the Paganini caprices, in the Rondo Capriccioso, in the Mendelssohn D minor concerto, and so forth. I'm not going to get into the details of the stiff arm staccato, except to say that it is exactly half the speed of our fastest stiff arm tremolo, and that it's important that these springs and the wrist springs not be overly rigid when we cut that in half for this. That's essentially a stroke in which the bicep and tricep muscle are tightened at the same time, creating a shake in the forearm, and the springs of the hands are allowing us to catch just the up bow portion of that. So again, that works best for students that have practiced a lot of very fast tremolos and so forth. And in closing, I would say that it's very valuable to practice number 45, the moderato, as a sautier exercise with many, many strokes on each to activate the wrist and fingers again. They're related. The freedom that's generated, if the sautier comes primarily from the wrist and fingers as though we're throwing the bow away, yeah, just throwing it away like that, then half of that becomes the controlled wrist and finger staccato. And the faster you can generate this relaxed, the more we can enter into the realm of being able to do faster staccati on the up bow. So the freedom that you develop in your sautier can directly affect the freedom with which you execute the faster staccati. There you have it, the 45th study of Wohlfahrt for staccato moderato. I hope this helps. Please subscribe to my channel and share with others. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Bye.